I'm not impressed, and I'm not satisfied. This episode it didn't do enough. I checked out, man. I checked out. The season, the suspension of disbelief is already gone. All right, it's already gone, and I'm just not feeling it. It's just gone. The immersion is not there anymore, and it sucks. I like The Mandalorian. I like season 1 and 2, and this season pulled me out. It was just too much. This season is like I don't know. The only thing that's coming to my mind is Game of Thrones season 8. It's like, dude, this season really just pulled me out. The suspension of disbelief is gone. I can't be immersed in the show anymore. Anyways, this is a review, so let's go through the episode and let's talk about it. So, it seems like they trying to put Mando up front and center. So I was like, okay, the main character is the main character of this episode. Cool. Later on, Bo-Katan comes in, and so they sort of share this episode a bit. So Mando's doing his thing. He's fighting these stormtroopers, and I know I talked about this prior, how Mando does something cool, and they play that sound effect, that Mando sound effect, that cowboy sounding, the sound effect from the theme. Every single time Mando does something, they play that. It's overused now. But anyways, Mando's going after Moff Gideon, the main villain, the big guy, the one that's everything's been leading up to, right, this season. So, hey, Mando's going to get his spotlight, right? Halfway into that fight, Bo-Katan comes in and fights Moff Gideon while Mando runs after and tries to go save Grogu. All right, let's not skip all the way to the end of the episode. Let's bring it back a little bit. Mando talking to R5, the droid, calling him buddy, that little astromech. I thought this dude hated droids, right? He didn't like droids. And we did see a bit of that when they were on that planet trying to save the droids or whatever. He doesn't really care about droids. Yet, he wants his droid friend to go spelunking with him from episode 1. And now he's calling this droid buddy multiple times. Every single time he references droid, he's like, hey, good job, buddy. It felt out of character for him. And talking about that droid Grogu's in, what did I say? What did I say last episode? What did I say? That idea is not going to last. It makes no sense. It's dumb. It's silly. Yeah, it was funny with the no for one scene, but that idea is not going to last. Because Grogu is training to be a Mandalorian, so he can't rely on a droid. Or he's training to be a Jedi. He can't rely on a droid, right? He has to hone his abilities, okay? And guess what happens this episode? It gets destroyed. What is up with this show taking a step in one direction and then immediately retracting that step? What is the point? I talked about this so many times. The hub thing on the Naboo Starfighter. We put that on for Grogu to fly in. He flew in that thing like once or twice, and then they got rid of it. They send off Grogu to Luke Skywalker to train. Hey, let's take him back to Mando in another show. It happens so many times. They do something, if good or bad. A lot of the things that they do, I don't really care for. But commit to it. They don't. And they retract it. So what's the point in wasting that whole time? What's the point? I don't know. Makes no sense to me. And back to Grogu in that droid suit. On top of the gold and red paint job, there's a clear reference to Jarvis. Where Mando is down on the ground and Grogu's like spraying him off, making sure he's okay. Jarvis did that exact same thing to Iron Man. Here's the thing, dude. I was hoping maybe this isn't Jon Favreau because this writing in this season is just subpar. But that's something Jon Favreau would put in there because it's in reference to Iron Man, right? The colors on Grogu's arm. So maybe some of it is Jon Favreau, maybe some of it is others, or maybe Jon Favreau's not all. Maybe Jon Favreau doesn't hit every single time. I don't know. Dude, whoever was in charge of this season, whoever made the decisions, maybe it was multiple people, and that's why things got muddy and muddled. Whatever happened, the end result is not good. It sucks. The season is by far worse than season 1 and 2. The aerial shots were cool. Again, that's the best thing about the season. All the ships flying, the Mandalorians flying through the air, that stuff looks cool. I really like the aerial shots. Some of the battles in this episode with the Mandalorians in the air was a bit iffy, but the straight up flying sequences in the ships and the Mandalorians flying and stuff, I enjoy. I thought that looked cool. speaking of the Mandalorians flying, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, right? But the way the show has established the Darksaber, right, was that this thing is extremely heavy. I don't remember it being extremely heavy in the Clone Wars, but in the show, in The Mandalorian, it's extremely heavy, and it requires certain amount, a training, right, to be able to wield it, right? We're not Ultimate Gohan, so we can't just become stronger and be able to wield the sword. No, it requires a certain technique, movement of the body, being able to balance it with your body and how to wield it, right? Using your body weight and momentum and all that stuff to wield this thing, right? So it takes certain technique. You need to be trained in order to use this sword. Bo-Katan, we've seen multiple times, she's holding the sword in weird angles with one hand, okay? That's not some type of training. She's just immensely strong with a hand. Or magically the sword is light in her hand. Makes no sense, right? But in this episode, she activates the Darksaber and is flying with it. If that thing was heavy, she should have plummeted down to the ground. I mean, or she should at least be front heavy as she's flying. That means there is no weight factor to this blade. So I don't understand why they introduced this weight factor to the blade. Because the way Bo-Katan wields the blade, it doesn't look like it's immensely heavy, right? It doesn't look like she is needing to use momentum and her body weight to fight with this Darksaber. It looks like, hey, it's just like a regular saber. It looks like a lightsaber. She's wielding a lightsaber. That's what it looks like a regular sword or something. But when Mando uses it, it's 50 tons. You know what I mean? I don't get it. So we found out that Moff Gideon was trying to clone himself, right? We knew that he was trying to create a clone army of Force sensitives that wore Mandalorian Beskar, right? The ultimate army. But I didn't know he was going to clone himself. Like he was trying to create an army of Moff Gideons. But let's just jump to the fight scene with Mando and Moff Gideon, right? So Mando and Moff Gideon are fighting, and then Bo-Katan takes over. So we set this episode up like, hey, we're gonna focus on the Mandalorian, on Din Djarin. I should have known better. I shouldn't have thought, hey, Din Djarin is back. He's the main character of the show, right? So he's gonna take out the main bad guy this season. I shouldn't have expected that. That's bad on my part. So Bo-Katan comes in and starts to handle business because Mando needed to run off and save his kid. And yeah, it was emotional. Seeing Mando emotional, wanting to save Grogu. Yeah, I did like that. But at the same time, yes, I like his priority is for Grogu. He wants to make sure Grogu's okay. I like the fatherly instinct and everything. But at the same time, I want Mando to kill this dude. Mando is the main character. Din Djarin is the main character of this show. Yeah, we found out from the producer, I forgot the dude's name, that he's not the main character. He's not the only main character. The show is called The Mandalorian. It could be any Mandalorian. And in this case, it's Bo-Katan. Bo-Katan and him are sharing. Honestly, I wouldn't say sharing. I'd say Bo-Katan is sort of hogging the limelight. So anyways, Grogu is off fighting the Praetorian Guard. I think that's what they're called. The Praetorian Guard or whatever. The Royal Guard looking people, right? Grogu's fighting them. He's in his little suit, right? That's when the suit gets destroyed and he's jumping around up top, and they cut the pipes up there, and Grogu falls down and he's trapped. And okay, so Grogu's in danger, right? So Din comes and saves him. But that whole fight scene, the choreography wasn't good. It wasn't good. There was no. Where is the quality in Star Wars? I mean, where has it been for the past few years, right? Ever since the prequels, the fight scenes in the prequels, the choreography in the prequels were top tier. Like, think about the fight scenes back then. Especially, I'm talking about the melee, the lightsaber combat, right? They looked so good, right? It was epic. It was dramatic, and you felt it. And you felt like, dude. And anyways, so this scene, right, with Grogu and Mando fighting these royal guards, like the melee combat, dude. Come on, bro. Like, the choreography. I'm going to do a huge big miss. I'm going to fall and I'm going to stumble. I'm going to do this random twirl in front of nothing for no reason. Yeah, Obi-Wan and Anakin did the Obi-Annie twirl, right? And then they did that looked cool at least, dude. It looked cool. It fit. The momentum in the fight was there. The momentum, it kept moving forward. This fight just felt all over the place, right? I mean, what am I expecting? I'm not expecting them to put time and effort into these choreographies, into these fight scenes, because ever since Disney took over Star Wars, it hasn't been there, right? They haven't People were expecting, holy cow, we're getting Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor back in the Kenobi series. We're gonna get these crazy fight scenes. They're gonna train, dude. I knew immediately they were not going to train like they did for their fight scene in Revenge of the Sith. No way. These people don't care about Star Wars. The quality is not going to be there. They want the fastest turnaround, the least amount of effort put in to make the maximum amount of money. That's what they want, okay? Dude, as you can see, my rant is not really about this episode. Yeah, this episode I don't really care about, but it's with the state of Star Wars right now. And that's what I'm just checked out, bro. I'm checked out. Let me continue with this review. So while Grogu and Mando are fighting for their lives against those red guards, whatever, Bo-Katan's getting her hand crushed by Moff Gideon, and the Darksaber is destroyed, right? In that scene, dude, I caught myself rooting for Moff Gideon. I was like, yo, yes. Because the way Bo-Katan has been introduced in this season, she's unlikable to me. She's stealing the limelight from the main character of the show, and I don't like that. So I'm honestly, in that scene, I was rooting for Moff Gideon. I was like, all right, let's go, let's do this. I want him to win. I want chaos. I want utter destruction because this is trash. I checked out, dude. I'm not invested anymore. There's no immersion here. Suspension of disbelief is gone. So anyways, Grogu ends up saying Bo and Mando. He creates this force bubble and all the fire just goes over. He's looking up like this. Dude, before that, bro, everybody is like doing the... everybody's doing the power slide. What is this, a rock concert? What's going on? Grogu did the power slide. Mando did the power slide. Bo did the power slide. Also, tell me this about Grogu. Grogu's 50 years old, right? And he can't talk, right? And which is why he couldn't take the creed. We're going to get into that right at about the end of the episode. So Grogu's 50 years old and he can't talk, right? Yoda died at like 989, right? And he looked crazy old. So he's probably like 98 years old, right? So let's say 900 years for whatever Grogu's species is, whatever Yoda's species is. 900 years, let's say that equates to 90 years. Okay? That's fair? So Grogu is 50. So he should be about 5. How is this dude 50 years old? So equate that to 5 years in human years. How does he still not be able to talk? How is he 50 years old and he's still like a baby? Is he going to get just this amazing growth spurt? Why is the first 50 years of this dude's age in as a baby? Yeah, I understand he lives to 900 plus, right? But I would imagine that the earlier stages of development are going to be relatively, linear, okay? And then when he gets to his prime, that's going to probably stay longer. He's going to be is like adult sized for quite a bit of time, right? But if you're 50 and you're still a baby and you can't talk, what does that mean for the rest of his life? He's got to have a crazy growth spurt for this stuff to make sense, I feel like. Because if he's 5 years old in human years, why is he not talking? I don't know. I don't know. I feel like Grogu has been a baby for far too long. For 50 years, over 50 years now, because apparently he was with Luke for 2 years. Yeah, that does not make any sense. They're just trying to explain away stuff. Anyways, so they're back on they're on Mandalore, right? They're doing the foundling ceremony, and Din adopts Grogu as his own son. I like that. Because now as a father figure, as a parent, because Grogu can't say the creed, he's vouching. He's like, he's saying, I'm speaking for my child here, So he's taking Grogu as his apprentice. See, look, I like Mando and Grogu, okay? But I feel like they're going too deep into the father-son thing. Look at The Last of Us. Joel and Ellie, right? We're talking Pedro Pascal and both. But I'm talking about the game, not the show. There is a connection, right? There's a connection between the two characters, but there's also a veil between the two in the sense that they're not lovey-dovey. They're not super close. They don't show the affection so much, right? There's a level. There's some distance between the two. And with The Last of Us, yes, that closes the gap, and then they become close. But that journey took a long time, right? With Grogu and Din Djarin, the reason why I don't like the diving headfirst into the father-son thing is because I feel like that's going to take away from the rough coolness of Din Djarin, and we've seen that this season. They've softened him up, and I did really like the I don't know, not chemistry, but the relationship between Grogu and Din. The conflict within Din, like, hey, I don't want the responsibility of taking care of a kid, but I do care for him. This relationship is slowly building. I do care for him. By the end of season 2, he didn't want to let the kid go, right? So, but I like the battle within him where he's like conflicted. I shouldn't be attached to this kid, but I am becoming attached. What should I do? Should I let my feelings go and just welcome the kid home, hug him? I'm going to be a dad now. Go all in, or you know what I mean? Because he's supposed to be that hard, alpha kind of stoic kind of guy who's not in touch with his feelings. That's what I pictured in season 1 and 2, and that sort of came off at season 2 because he was going away, and so now we're just doing away with all of that. He's like completely he's completely in love with this kid, and I mean it's nice, it's sweet, but I'm just worried with that. What is that going to do to Mando's character in the future, right? And is that going to put any limitations on Grogu's growth? Because I still want to see the kid become a Jedi, But I don't know if they're going to go back with the Luke Skywalker stuff since they pulled him away from Luke already. So now Din Grogu now is, father and son. They're living on Navarro. Like they got their own plot of land. They're chilling. They're relaxing. I don't know the future of the show, and I think Dave Favreau said that he doesn't know the future of the show. He doesn't know how the show is going to end. So they're writing into infinity and beyond. They're writing into nothing. They don't know the end goal. So that's worrisome. I mean, you guys might disagree with me about the whole Grogu Din thing, because it is cute. It is cute, and I do like the father and son aspect. But I don't want Din's character to be boiled down to the protective father and Grogu to be boiled down to that cute thing, right? Because that's what it was. That's what it seems like. Hey, Din's a side character who's a father who's just protective of the father, and that's his motivation. And Grogu is just that cute, the cute thing in the show. And Bo-Katan is what you're here for. I don't like that. So I'm just based off of all that, I'm just worried where the show is going to go. Grogu felt the mythosaur down there. I don't know if that's going to lead up to anything with the mythosaur. We know the show likes to show stuff and then backtrack, so maybe they're not going to do anything with the mythosaur. I don't know. That whole giant dinosaur creature from the last episode, what happened to that? That just came out of nowhere, and then they went under the ground, and then they didn't deal with it. So okay, I feel bad that this show pulled me out of it. That this season pulled me out of it. I really do feel bad. Immersion is important to me. I really like being immersed. That's why I like fantasy. That's why I like sci-fi. I like being immersed in these worlds. That's why I like world building. I like being immersed. And this show didn't let me do that. It didn't let me be immersed. So that sucks. So let me know your thoughts down below, down in the comment section. You know my thoughts already. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions about this whole season on the whole and this episode. And also, where do you think they're going to go in season 4? Do you think it's even going to focus on Din Djarin? Or is Din going to take a break with Grogu on his little plot of land and check out for the next season? We're just going to follow Bo-Katan around. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.